Okay, so I was on a walk with the rest of my family, as we always do, and we're walking along and we found a lawnmower in a bush. And it looks like it's been sitting there a while, so tracked the owners down and made a deal. I think I got it. I think he said if you can get it running, you can have it. And I don't know what that means. If I can't get it running, I can't have it. I don't understand, but we got a fresh battery. We got our little cordless compressor and a little socket set. I think it's back here somewhere. So, she's definitely seen better days, and I can see why they got rid of it, but there's just so many good little tidbits with this. One being, who doesn't love a 3-cylinder diesel Kubota? The rad is it's okay, but it also has a giant hydraulic pump because every one of the reels is driven by a hydraulic motor. So hydrostat diesel with hydraulic hose reels, lots of hydraulic valves and goodies and hoses. They stopped using it because a bird built a nest on it and they didn't want to disrupt the bird. So then they just parked it, and they said they're sick of wrenching on it, blowing hoses, doing whatever. I'm sure we can harvest it. If not, fix it. Let's see if we can get it running anyway. Yeah. so I just noticed that nest now, but there's actually eggs in it. So we'll fire it up. We'll see if it works. We're not moving it, obviously. We might have to wait a couple weeks until those hatch out of there. We'll see. Here we go. So we've had some questions before on what do I do when I want to fire a diesel up that I hasn't ran in a number of years. I think this one hasn't ran in 4 or 5 years from what they told me. If it's been 4 or 5 years, I probably wouldn't be too worried. Diesel doesn't go bad like gasoline does. It's got lubricity in it, and that doesn't disappear over time. It takes a good 15-20 years before that diesel starts getting too bad. More than anything, it'll probably just end up clogging your fuel filters and not running. So a fresh fuel source is generally number one with fuel filter change. Obviously check your engine oil. This is hydraulic, so we gotta check our hydraulic oil. If you're very worried about the engine, you can take out the port on the where the oil pressure sensor goes in, and then just take any cylinder, anything that can hold 5 to 10 psi of oil pressure, fill it up with oil, thread the oil into the oil gallery, and then just pressurize the cylinder. It'll just push all the oil into the engine. That'll pre-lube all the bearings and everything, so that when you're turning it over for the first time, it's not dry. The hours on this one, it's got 3,300 hours, if that hour meter's still working, which is still fairly new. If it's low on oil, we'll check that. We'll definitely do something like that, but I'll probably just fire it up because we're here, and my investment into this is basically zero right now. Oil level is all the way up. It's not milky. Oil filter says 2014. So it's been 5 years since it's been fired or looked at. That would be fuel, which is full and doesn't smells like diesel. Anybody know online where the oil reservoir is? I don't know. I guess if it doesn't squeal when we fire it up. Got an oil tank here somewhere. I'm just gonna throw a battery in it and start it. Keys in it. Oh, lights on. Oil lights on, so that's good. If that doesn't go out, we got problems. I don't know if they're, oh, glow plugs. We'll glow it. Throttle it. That's good. We'll give her full throttle. Just give her. If I glow it some more. Stop. Come on. If I was smart, I would have brought some brake clean, but I'm not. Sounds okay. Oil pressure light went out, so we're getting oil pressure. I don't think I have, maybe I got brake clean in the truck. my battery. All right, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get some brake clean. I'm gonna charge up that battery, and then we'll be back. That's the plan. Here we go. Good old Craftsman. We'll see. So I got invited to the Craftsman relaunch, and it was fantastic. It was great. But I had a big beef with their tools, and I let them know about it. Their sockets, they didn't have the finish going to the inside, and they were actually starting to rust. So they sent me another kit. I hope they took care of it. I've used Craftsman. It was actually my first set that I bought. Always very happy with them. Disappointed when Sears couldn't make a go of it. But I do want quality tools, at least ones that don't rust. So hopefully they got it. We'll actually tighten these battery clamps, which is not working so well because they're not using the proper nut in the right order. That's decent-ish. We'll put some air in the tires and see if it moves forward and back, and then we'll go from there, I guess. I don't hear any major hissing. That's good. 1 down, 3 to go. I already broke it. My lawnmower was flat, and I had it on the deck because it's my walker, and I cut the end off the hose. The original one, you just thread it on and walk away, but oh well. It takes me a little longer. I think that is seized. It's great when they put the sticker on the floor and then cover it up with the roll cage. Because that might be 4-wheel drive. Like that to me is 4-wheel drive. Then you turn the mower on, flasher. This must be reels turning on. It's electric over hydraulic, nice. That is PTO maybe. That's horn. All right. Well, I don't know. Oil pressure, oil in it. What else could you want it for? So, we'll see when this shows up in the driveway. Here we go.
Well, there she is. Gonna try and drag it. I was gonna put it in my trailer until I realized that it's too tall. It wouldn't fit under the door. So, instead, little line here, we turn it, and it freewheels, and I'll pull it with my tractor down the golf course. Here we go. Okay, so what are we gonna do with this thing? Reel mowers are basically for fairways. They only work really well with short grass, and I don't mind short grass because then I can wait a little longer before cutting it again. And when the sun burns it all because it's too dry, then I don't have to cut the grass at all. The reel mowers are all there, other than I'm missing one of these rollers on the right side. You probably go back to the golf course, probably laying in the weeds or something somewhere. So these are the options. We either fix it up and use it, but it was parked for a reason, so there's a couple things wrong with it. From what the owner said is that it was just too much trouble. Every time they used it, something broke on it, and they were just sick of fixing it, so they parked it. As far as he knows, he goes, you could probably fire it up and cut the grass. So, little Kubota 3-cylinder, 28 horse, non-turbo, fired right up. We already know that. So now it's to see whether the hydraulics are good or not. Now this hose was leaking right here. This is a pipe. Can you see that? This pipe was rotten, so I just took a piece of pipe that fit over top and I just brazed this over the rotten piece. Cheap fix, didn't take too long to do that. And my budget for this is $0. So when you are welding a piece or brazing a piece like that, because it's a pipe, it goes from the one side to the other, and then a T that comes right off the pump right here. You basically have to braze it in place because the fittings have to line up 100%. So basically tighten everything, cut it, stick the pipe over top, braze it. We've got videos on brazing it. That's not the point. I fixed that. Now it's on to see whether it will move. With the hydrostat, it was low on oil, so put a full pail of oil in there. That's how much it was low because that was leaking. And whether the reels spin or not, I'll try and cut my grass. Not that I'm going to use this as a mower, but we can verify that the hydraulic pumps are working, the hydraulic motors are working on the reels, and the hydrostat works to make it go forward and back. Let's see if it will move and start and go from there. Okay, decent battery in there. I think this is the switch for the hydrostat, so this will lock it out so you can tow it. And then when you turn it the other way, the other 90 degrees, it allows the flow to go and turn the tires. So turn the key. I'm still just barely enough oil. There's a oil here and here. Oh, look at that. That works. No reverse. And do the reel spin. There we go. Ah, look at that. Oh. That's better. Cool. So that's probably telling me I'm still low on oil. That's ridiculous. Wow. Okay. So I'm still low on oil. I don't think I'm leaking. I didn't hear anything squirting. So before I put any more money into it, I'm still gonna pop tires back on again and see if it moves under its own power and if it's worth throwing another pail of oil in there. So here we go. Sure, right about there. Let's give her. Just giving her. Might have to grab some tape and put it over that buzzer. That'll fix that. Uh-oh. So, here's where we're at. We have a mower that moves, goes forward and reverse, and things spin around. It cuts the grass, not great, but it cuts the grass. So the knives need to be sharpened and all that fun stuff. But I think it worked. So, for now, I think I'm gonna run and grab some more oil and cut my grass. I was worried about the hydrostat. That's the biggest thing. What it is a little brass plate that slides over a 9-piston pump, and it has to transfer the oil from the pump to that brass plate as it's spinning. And if there's a tiny little groove in that hydrostat, it won't move. So I think it's just low on oil. Running it low on oil is also terrible for it. You can really scratch that brass plate. But I've had a guy in town, DM Precision, they're actually doing some machining on the GTO. They have like this laser CNC that can measure to like a tenth of a thou and machine that brass plate down again. You can make that brass plate skinnier, just down to the groove. And they've showed this like graph, and this was like 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I fixed the hydrostat and a little skid steer. Couldn't buy the hydrostat for it anymore. 75 bucks to machine the thing. You don't really need any gaskets or seals. So I'd really like to get into this hydrostat, but I'm not gonna do it if it's not broken. All right, so the only thing left to do is, I haven't even washed it yet. Let's go cut some grass. So that got stuck in there, probably fell off of this somewhere. Okay, well, it seems to be doing okay. I guess I'll give it a pressure wash. Yeah, we'll decide what to do after that. Here we go. Okay, so here's the thing. I have an hour and a half into fixing that pipe. I have 2 pails of oil for 140 bucks into that. And that's it. Oh, a battery. I gotta put a battery in there. So, total cost so far is 150 bucks, but there's a catch. The owner of the golf course just bought a 6-liter Ford, and he says you can have the mower, but you might have to fix that 6.0 Ford at some point. So I'll probably sell another Cummins at that point. For now, kind of at a dilemma because everything works, but there is some pieces missing. But it's kind of a pain, and they don't really like long grass or weeds. And I'm not gonna say that I don't have long grass or weeds, because I have both. So the walker does a way nicer job, but it's a 4-foot cut. This is a 9-foot cut. So this does it almost more than twice as fast. So that's nice. It's a lot faster, like it moves faster than the walker, but it doesn't get as close to the walker. So best thing about this thing is this little Kubota engine. So I think the only practical thing to do is to sell the Kubota engine and scrap the rest. A lot of these reels are missing pieces and they're rotten, so the grass doesn't go the way it's supposed to. It doesn't, the heights are off. I was gonna buy new reels and had a guy lined up, went back and forth emails, and that's the way it goes. Nothing ever happens with that. So I thought maybe I could get 5 or 6 riding lawnmower decks and then put the little motors on there and spin it, but that's a lot of work for those motors to do too. So the amount of work and everything that goes into it, I think those Kubota this is a D1105. I thought maybe I could keep this one for my walker, but I need a D722 for my walker because I was an idiot and I left too much water in the block and she froze and cracked. So we'll use the Kubota to pull out the Kubota. It's already sold. Took all of 12 hours on the internet for that to go, and then we'll go use that money for some other projects. Here we go. So it's interesting to note that this machine, brand new 20 years ago, is $40,000. $40,000. Nice, still warm from running. And there she is, all ready for the scrap. Now I was almost gonna scrap it a couple times, but then the hydraulics are still worth something, I think. The reverse sucks, which is partly why we scrapped it. Kind of a pain getting stuck somewhere and having to yank it backwards. Just too many issues. And to put all that time and effort into that particular hydrostat, the rest of the machine just wasn't worth it. So, we do have another project that we could maybe use it for. I want you guys' opinion. Come on the shop, I'll show you. This here is a 4-cylinder air-cooled pup engine for a Deuce. Now, these were rated pretty low horsepower, but with a bigger carburetor, they make some decent power. I thought if we pulled the tow rig out of the C10, a motorcycle with a matching patina would look pretty sick. So, Alex out in Billet Performance Manufacturing can build us an adapter plate to put a transmission on the back of this for a motorcycle. We did pick up a Harley motorcycle. Should we build a all-wheel drive hydrostat air-cooled motorcycle Harley with the matching patina for the back of the C10? And then I don't even know what channel that has to go on. Is that off-road because we're using a lawnmower hydrostat on an on-road motorcycle? I don't know. Anyway, stick around. We will do something cool with it. I won't scrap that thing yet till all the hydraulics are off of it. And then you can buy it from V&R. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Get out there, get filthy. Here we go.